Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life one summary at a time. Today, we're diving into Shocks, Crises, and False Alarms, How to Assess True Macroeconomic Risk, by Philipp Carlsson-Szlezak and Paul Swartz. This book is a crucial guide for navigating the turbulent waters of today's economic landscape, helping us discern real threats from mere ripples. The authors argue that the past few decades have benefited from a good macro operating system, characterized by low inflation, stable growth, and global convergence. However, recent shocks like the pandemic, rising inflation, and geopolitical tensions have shaken this foundation, pushing macroeconomics to the forefront of the CEO agenda. A key theme in the book is the prevalence of false alarms. The authors highlight several recent examples: the prediction of a COVID-induced depression, an inflation regime break, a cascade of emerging market crises, and an inevitable recession in 2023. These predictions, amplified by a doom-mongering media, often lead to costly overreactions. So, how do we avoid these traps? The authors propose 3 essential habits: rejecting a master model mentality, discounting doom-mongering, and practicing economic eclecticism. First, let's tackle the master model mentality. The book emphasizes that macroeconomic models, despite their sophisticated appearance, have a poor track record of predicting crises. This is because macroeconomic dynamics are context-dependent, relying on small sample sizes and failing to capture the idiosyncrasies of each situation. Models are especially unreliable during crises, when extreme data points force extrapolations beyond their empirical range. The book encourages readers to develop their own judgment instead of blindly following model outputs. Second, we need to become more discerning consumers of economic news. The media's negativity bias, driven by the need for attention-grabbing headlines, amplifies false alarms. Remember, doom sells. The authors advise us to be mindful of the source and their potential biases when consuming economic news. A healthy information diet includes a variety of perspectives, not just the loudest pessimists. This leads us to the third habit: economic eclecticism. The book advocates for a flexible, adaptable approach to macro analysis, drawing on various disciplines and methodologies. It's about weaving a coherent narrative based on drivers and context, rather than clinging to a single theory or model. The book then examines the specifics of macroeconomic risks, dividing them into 3 parts: the real economy, the financial economy, and the global economy. Part 1 examines growth risks and boosts. The authors introduce a cyclical risk profile, categorizing recessions into 3 types: real economy recessions, policy-induced recessions, and financial recessions. By understanding the drivers and relative prevalence of each type, we can better assess the cyclical outlook. They also analyze long-term growth prospects, debunking both overly pessimistic and optimistic narratives. While acknowledging the gravity of growth that pulls down mature economies, they emphasize the potential for productivity growth, particularly through technology. Part 2 explores financial risks, beginning with our addiction to stimulus. The authors trace the rise of the compulsive stimulus machine, from Reagan's deficits to the pandemic-era spending spree. While acknowledging the role of stimulus in averting crises, they also highlight the risks it creates, including bubbles and market distortions. The authors then discuss inflation, emphasizing the difference between cyclical and structural inflation, and the challenges of managing inflation in a tight economy. They also address other financial risks, such as higher interest rates, debt sustainability, and the inevitability of bubbles. Part 3 examines the global economy, arguing that the convergence bubble of the past 30 years has popped, giving way to divergence. The authors analyze the 4 dimensions of this bubble: security, political, economic, and financial, and how their unraveling is reshaping the global landscape. They offer guidance on assessing geopolitical risks and their economic impact, emphasizing the importance of understanding transmission channels and policy responses. The book also addresses the risks of declining trade and the resilience of the dollar. A recurring theme throughout the book is the importance of focusing on drivers, not just outcomes. Whether analyzing recessions, growth prospects, inflation, or geopolitical risks, understanding the underlying drivers is key to developing sound judgment. The authors encourage us to ask what it takes for a particular scenario to unfold, rather than simply predicting whether it will happen. Shocks, Crises, and False Alarms offers a valuable framework for navigating macroeconomic uncertainty. The authors don't offer a crystal ball, but they equip us with the tools to sharpen our judgment, avoid costly traps, and lead with greater confidence in a volatile world. To wrap up, let's distill the book's key takeaways into some easy-to-remember heuristics. Don't be swayed by the master model mentality. Develop your own judgment. Don't just parrot forecasts. Discount the doom. Be aware of the media's negativity bias and be skeptical of extreme predictions. Embrace economic eclecticism. Use a variety of analytical tools and adapt your approach to the context. Focus on drivers, not just outcomes. Understand the underlying forces shaping the economy, not just the surface-level data. Don't conflate cyclical and structural shifts. A temporary spike isn't necessarily a regime break. History matters, but it's not destiny. Use history to inform your judgment, but don't be trapped by historical analogies. Tightness is the new normal. Prepare for a world of higher costs, higher rates, and more disciplined capital allocation. Resilience is key. Build flexibility into your strategies to navigate the uncertainties of a diverging world. Good macro can persist. Despite the challenges, the fundamentals for a favorable business environment remain in place. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.